Hello, welcome back. We are here in this segment where we talk about different diseases related with psychology. Today, we are going to talk about hypochondria, imagination or reality. The hypochondria is a disorder where people are worried about having a serious illness because they feel like they're having some symptoms related to it. These symptoms can be a feeling or pain in their body, like little lumps, heartbeats, involuntary movements, among others. There's nothing wrong with people being worried about their health. One might think oneself can get sick so easy, but when you suffer hypochondria, it doesn't matter how minor the symptom is, you are very convinced that you have it. They'd rather be checked by the doctor to know that everything is fine, but they are only going to stay calm for a while and then the concern is going to appear again. Many of hypochondriacs experience stress and anxiety for thinking constantly about this illness that can be affecting them, so they require constant reassurance of their family and doctor to know that they are healthy. Knowing why this mechanism happens, it's hard to explain. It is known that this disorder happens in families with a lot of members, and sometimes all of them can be affected. These families are constantly talking about this illness and what things are supposed to happen or not. And also they are very afraid that the children get sick. So in this way, the kids grow with this concern about this disease, and when some symptom appears, they get very worried about it. So they are helping each other to grow their fear related to die or suffer pain. I think this happens because they are very afraid that something bad is happening to their body, and they think that if they don't take care of it the sooner possible, they are to have really bad consequences and a lot of pain. Even so, a lot of these patients don't go to the doctor because they don't want to see that their fear is real. Studies show that less of the 1% of the population suffer this disease, but they deserve to be listened to. Experts like Marcus and Church have observed that people who have dysfunctional beliefs about health used to think that serious diseases are more common than they are. Once the patient is considered a hypochondriac, the treatment begins, and they must start follow certain rules. First, if some of the symptoms are to appear, they shouldn't go to the doctor or urgence. Then, the doctor's insistent on patients doing some techniques. The best so far is the cognitive behavioral therapy that lies in being exposed to corporal feelings, so they can learn that if they don't fight against them and accept them, they can become acceptable feelings that let them keep going with their activities. So now that we conclude this part of the segment and you know things about this disease, it's time to answer some of your questions. First question says, I would like to know if hypochondriac people have physical symptoms. Answer is no, because these people can have physical symptoms, but they are not related with the disease of hypochondria. It can be for some other thing that they are experiencing in their body, and that's exactly why they are afraid, because they think that this thing can be some other disease that is going to make them die or make them feel pain. So no, they can have physical symptoms from another thing, but they are not specific for the disease of hypochondria. Next question is if I know someone who suffers this disease. I would say no, because I don't know anyone who is in this point where they are very worried about their health and they can stop thinking and they stop doing their activities because they are thinking this all the time. I think that it's normal to be worried about your health sometimes, because there are times where you get sick and it's bad. You are very sick and it's normal to being worried, and it's good to be worried because you go to the doctor, and if you don't go to the doctor, it can happen something bad. So I think that's okay, that's normal. But I don't know anyone who is thinking of this all the time. So I will say no. So this is my answer. The next question is if this disease is related with another one. The hypochondria can be related with the nosophobia. The nosophobia is a disease where people are very afraid to go to the doctor because they don't want to know if they are going to die for another disease, for another terminal disease. So they never go to the doctor and they don't want to get old because they are very afraid to die and they are very afraid to die for a terminal disease. So we can see that these two are very related to each other because they are both related with the fear of dying, with the fear of getting sick. So that's why these two can be very similar in some aspects, but also a little bit different. This was the last question, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope you go home knowing something new, and I hope you like it. So we'll see you next week, and have a nice day. Bye.